Recently, Blair Witch came to the Nintendo Switch with a 10% off price tag, and guess who decided to scoop it up and play it? This guy. Today, we're going to be getting into a review for Blair Witch on the Nintendo Switch. Let's get into it. Before we really get into this review, I just want to remind you that I'm making content all the time. I'll have a link in the description to my Twitch page, and if you're looking to stick around and have some fun with some video games, hit that subscribe button. Alright, let's get into it, starting out with the graphics. Now the graphics look a lot like an Xbox 360 game at first glance, and I didn't really expect anything amazing because it is on the Nintendo Switch. It's got limited hardware. Like, if you compare this to a AAA game that just came out, it's not going to look pristine. But graphics don't make a game good, right? I personally think the game looks really great in handheld mode, and it's a lot more forgiving with these textures that are a little low resolution, but you can't tell when it's on the small screen, can ya? Nah. You can't. Okay, maybe a little. But whatever. Blair Witch is unique because it uses something called binaural beats that stimulate brain activity. The sound department for this game, they can actually increase concentration and alertness. This is one of the reasons why it says in the beginning, before you play the game, it's recommended to use headphones. Absolutely. Playing this game with the headphones, it really brought me in, and the music gave this sense of dread and fear. And this is one of those points where Blair Witch starts to drop hints that you might be doing something wrong. Let's say I was going around campsite 1, and I was just going around in circles. The game will give this sort of cue with the music that you're being manipulated by the witch and that you're not doing something right. So I quickly learned whenever I heard some of that music start playing and I was walking around aimlessly that maybe I wasn't doing something right and I should just open my eyes a little bit and take a look around. The voice acting is really great. Like, I didn't cringe once at all. I think since this is a game based off of a movie, there was a great importance with voice acting and story and all of that, which is really, really great because this game needed things like the story to keep me playing. So what about the controls then? How do those work? Well, I'm going to tell you. You're probably going to want to turn up the sensitivity to the camera because it's very slow when you start, and even throughout playing the game, I should have turned up the sensitivity a little bit more, but that's just a minor issue that can be fixed, whatever. It's easy to navigate the menu with Bullet to either reprimand him, which, how dare you, or to reward him or ask him to seek things out. There are scenes later in the game that make it harder to control your character, which is actually really cool because it felt like I was actually Ellis. Like, it was hard for me to get off the floor and it was hard for me to walk around and stand straight at times. It does add an additional level of immersion, and I definitely appreciate that in a horror game. So when we get into the gameplay, it starts to show its flaws a little bit. First of all, I want to talk about Bullet. Now, Bullet is a very good boy, and he's more than welcome to follow me around. It's great to have him in the game. However, he isn't actually very useful if you're looking for directions. I thought the seek command was more of a way of the game helping you out to get to the next place, but I quickly realized that this expectation did not live up to what the game was meant to do. He responds really well to the seek command, and he'll actually look around and lead you in the right direction, but eventually he stops being useful altogether. I mean, there were even times when I was looking for stuff, he wouldn't like growl or whimper or anything when there was a tape around. No, I just had to go around in circles multiple times and then look up a walkthrough. What is the point of having this dog? I mean, is it for a storytelling perspective, because I love Bullet, trust me, like he should be in this game, but like, should he? I would also like to add that there are an immense number of glitches in this game. Not only will you get stuck on the terrain, but there's glitches with Bullet too. Like, he'll just be wandering off, or he'll be stuck in one location. It's inexcusable, and it's pretty game breaking. You are constantly running around in circles all throughout this game, and it can get really, really frustrating at times, to the point where you might have to look up a walkthrough a couple times. But we'll talk about that more later. After running around in circles for, I'm not even kidding, a half an hour at some point, that's where you get me, okay? And that was just a perfect segue to the next section, the story of Blair Witch. Now, I saw the Blair Witch Project movie that came out in 1998, a couple of years ago for the first time, and I don't remember a lot about it. The story saves this game. It is well developed, it's original, and I found myself wanting to know what happened next. So I was willing to push through those times where I was lost or just struggling in general. The police put together a search party to look for this missing boy named Peter in the woods. And Ellis is sort of looking for redemption in some way, because I'm not going to get into why he stopped being on the force in general and stopped being a police officer, because that's spoiling it. You'll just have to play the game to find out, or watch my Let's Play, which I will have up here if you guys are interested in that. I have them all in a playlist, so you can binge watch the whole thing, or skip around and look at the best moments. Immediately you can tell when Ellis mentions that he was joining the search party that his wife doesn't really think it's the best of ideas, and she's worried about him. You quickly realize that these two don't exactly have the best relationship. As we're walking into the woods for the first time to try to catch up with the search party, the radio starts having conversation about a witch in the woods that was there during the Civil War, and how the woods is haunted. The Blair Witch itself is definitely an antagonist, but I appreciate that this game actually has an original character, an original antagonist. He's developed so well throughout the story as you walk around and pick up little mementos, doctor records, and psych evaluations, things like that, that reveal more about this character. Taking the time to look around the environment, picking up mementos, reading it, made me care a lot more about the story and about the game in general. Blair Witch is about 3 hours long, give or take, or 6 hours long if you don't look up a walkthrough. So maybe you'll be really smart and find it out really fast though. Maybe you won't need a walkthrough, but I did. I needed one. Now, since this is a short game and there are multiple endings, playing it again, it can actually do you a lot of favors. I would recommend making several different save files so that you can pick up this game in the middle and start playing it again to get a different ending and not have to start over completely. But there might be choices that you make starting from the beginning of the game that will get you to a certain point. It will be difficult if you aren't very observant and have a bad sense of direction and get easily frustrated. That's when you're going to have a bad time right there. The puzzles are a little bit challenging at times, but they're not impossible. In fact, most of them I was able to figure out on my own. Occasionally, Ellis will blurt out little clues about where to go next or what to do. This is really, really helpful, and I appreciate that it's in the game. Once you realize Ellis is trying to help you out in these different ways, it kind of makes the gears start turning a little bit, and you'll eventually figure it out. In terms of originality, again, I've only seen the Blair Witch Project. I haven't seen the new Blair Witch movie at all, but what I do understand is that this game has an original storyline, which is argued as probably better than the storyline in the movies at some point. You definitely don't need to see the movies to enjoy playing through this at all. It's not necessary, but after you're finished, maybe you'll be more curious about checking them out. I know I am. I might actually rent the Blair Witch movie. I think it came out in 2016. I had a lot of moments where I loved playing Blair Witch. I was anticipating what happened next. I was really excited to get through the game, but where it fell short was with going around in circles and circles and circles and getting lost. That is just where you got me. I absolutely dreaded getting lost, even to the point where I started shouting and screaming, and I had to cut it out of my Let's Play because that's just not enjoyable to watch. It's scary and immersive. I think the binaural beats really add to the experience, and I appreciate that they're even in there. I don't know many horror games that use that kind of technology. When you're not lost, Blair Witch is actually a really great game. I can excuse the glitches and excuse the graphics and look past all of that. If you're looking for a game with great graphics that's going to run smoothly 24/7 and is just completely polished, I'm sorry to tell you that this actually isn't the game for you. And for some people who never want to really look up a walkthrough to get through the game and want to solve it themselves, it might actually end up making them not want to play it in the first place. You have to be patient with Blair Witch, and that is why I am giving it a 4 out of 10. Please fix the bugs. I should never have to worry about constantly saving because I'm afraid I'm going to get stuck, which did happen multiple times. This game was $30 on the Nintendo eShop, although I think it was 10% off when it first came out, so I was like, yeah, why not? You might really like this game, or you might really hate it. And that's all based on if you think the plot is interesting or if you've been a Blair Witch fan for a long time. When I look back at playing Blair Witch, I see a combination of having a lot of fun and having a good scary time and getting frustrated, screaming at the TV, and just rage quitting. And I definitely know it's not just me who got stuck in this game and got really frustrated, because I could see it all over Reddit and in the Nintendo Switch Facebook group I'm a part of. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like. It really helps out the channel. Let me know in the comment section below. Did you like Blair Witch? Are you going to try it, or are you going to skip it and maybe watch a Let's Play? Let me know. If you're not subscribed, I do an array of different games. Most of them are on the Nintendo Switch. I play through a game and then I review it. And on top of that, I am going to be coming out with more content revolving around things like gaming news and opinions. So if you did enjoy, stick around. I also stream on Twitch. My Twitch channel name is Spitting Image Gaming. I'll have a link in the description if you want to check that out and to give a follow on there. I mostly stream Splatoon 2 on there just because it's my favorite multiplayer game and I could play it for hours, really. But that's all we got for today. This has been Spitting Image. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.